Well, it's been less than 3 weeks since the start of hurricane season. Already, we are seeing the effects of our first named tropical storm. Good evening. I'm Cherise Gibson.
And I'm Katie Moore. Tropical storm Arthur is set to make landfall shortly. Right now, it's hovering southwest of Lake Charles. And you can see heavy rain from the storm is making its way to the North Shore. It's expected tonight, which could trigger some extreme flooding in the area.
That ground already saturated in those areas. So here's a look at those conditions in St. Tammany Parish, where some roads are impassable. Some people have already evacuated. We'll take you there in just a minute. But first, let's go to Chief Meteorologist Chris Franklin for a look at the latest track. What do we have to worry about and around what time, Chris?
The rainfall is already starting to move in, more so later tonight, overnight, and into our Thursday. Right now, though, what has been kind of crazy with this is it's already made landfall. It is inland over South Texas. We'll continue taking a path toward Houston, but we're not really worried about the center. We're not worried about the track. We're watching this area of thunderstorms associated with Arthur, but well removed away from the center. Dry air wind shear keeping all of the thunderstorms well away from its core. Now, there is definitely a little surface spin. We've also been watching a little surface spin, or at least a spin showing up on radar associated with this first little complex of storms. Bit of rainfall has been surging across parts of south central and southeast Louisiana from Arthur, and more to come later on into the night tonight. It remains that the greatest threat from this is not going to be the winds. It will be the rain that pushes directly over us. Now, that overnight tonight and into tomorrow, we will see even higher rain totals. What has been a positive trend, though, is all day today we have seen those numbers coming down. This is the official forecast from the Weather Prediction Center. It's a part of the National Weather Service, and we're looking at across the city a ½ inch to an inch of rain. We can handle that. 3 to 4 inches of rainfall, a little bit more of a concern for the North Shore, considering all of the rivers north of the lake are overflowing their banks already, and we're going to add to those totals as we continue through the night tonight. We'll take you through all of the models and look a little bit closer at the timing of that heavy rainfall coming up.
So what should drivers expect tomorrow morning after the overnight rain?
Now, as far as tomorrow morning goes, early morning, I think we're going to be okay. Again, the bulk of this is still well offshore, starts moving in a little bit later on into the night tonight. Wanted to jump over to our model here. So going after midnight tonight, hang home, because that's when the heaviest of the rainfall starts moving in. And it will be a, calming rain for some, maybe some rough thunderstorms for others going into the early morning hours. Now, based on this one model, by 6 a.m., we're already clearing out over the city. Now, we'll have to see just how much rain has fallen as to whether or not we have some standing water, street flooding here. But it does look like by that point in the morning, more of a focus will be north of the lake.
All right, Chris, thank you so much for that update. And we're talking about the rising river levels in rural Folsom. We have already seen some of the water overflowing in the Tchefuncte River, where some people have already started to evacuate.
Yeah, Meg Ferris is joining us live now from St. Tammany Parish, where there are some preps happening there. Meg?
Well, Katie and Cherise, tell Chris I can attest firsthand that his radar is correct. We've just had a band come through, and it was probably the strongest band that we've had come through since we've been up here for the last few hours. It's been drizzling on and off, but now this was the strongest. Now, let me show you where I am. I am on the St. Tammany Tangipahoa line, and we're right here at the Tchefuncte River, and you can see that it is, as Chris just said, they're overflowing the banks. And take a look at some of the video that we shot earlier today. As you mentioned, there have been some people who asked first responders to help them get out of their neighborhood because the streets were already getting water in it, and that's mostly up here in the northeast part of Folsom, where we see a lot of, like, 5 different streets have water in them. But the fire people told us that some of the cars of these people had already taken in water, so they were getting out to be safe because they knew that more rain was coming and they didn't want it to get worse. Now, the parish tells us that all emergency equipment is staged in the parish barns and ready to go. They say that they have 4 stations open for sandbagging. And as a lot of people we saw going there today who know that their home usually floods. Now, first responders are concerned that if you don't get out and you know you're going to flood, it's going to put their lives in danger. Take a listen.
it's reaching its peak. It's flooding. We do have Park Lane has several residences that water does get to their homes. They're all risen, but we did have to evacuate several occupants out of several residences today.
And you've evacuated them because they're worried if it gets higher, they can't get out. It's not that their homes are flooded yet.
No, they're just getting out. Their vehicles, some of the vehicles are flooded, and they're not able to get out with their own vehicles. So we brought our high water truck, and thankfully for St. Tammany Fire District 13 and Goodby, they brought their high water truck as well to assist us.
Now, I did want to pass on two things to you. We are told that 2 men died at Lock 1 Navigational Canal in Pearl River. Their family pulled them out. We don't have any more information on that. And also, the St. Tammany Humane Society the shelter was putting out a call to people that their shelter usually floods or is prone to flooding, I should say, and they're asking for foster families to come take in the animals during this storm. Reporting live from up near the Tchefuncte Banks, Meg Farris, WWL, Louisiana.
Yeah, we've certainly seen that with the animal shelter before. So, Meg, the big question for people, where can they go if they're evacuating from their homes in anticipation of this happening?
Katie, I just talked to parish officials. They say they do not have any shelters open at the moment. They're not planning on opening any. They said, but tomorrow morning everything could change. It all depends on how much rain comes in, how much that adds to the river here. St. Tammany is on a gravity system, so the water comes in, it goes down to the lake. So it all has to end up down in Covington and that area. So if it gets really bad, they may decide to open some, but right now none are open.
Okay, hopefully if they have friends and family they can stay with up there. Thanks so much, Meg. Because of all of the rain and flooding coming in tonight and tomorrow, all St. Tammany Parish libraries will be closed early today, rather. In fact, they all closed just a few minutes ago. You can go to the library's website to check each branch's reopening times.
Officials are also focused on the river in Tangipahoa Parish after rainfall in the parish yesterday. The area is expecting more heavy downpours tonight. Let's go to Winston Reed. He is live for us near the Tangipahoa River. Winston, what is the best case scenario here?
Now, we did have some light rain in the area temporarily, but it moved by pretty fast. But officials are hoping for long periods of dry weather, or at least no rain, so that way the rain from yesterday can recede and the parish can kind of have some more time to drain that water out. Roughly 20 roads were closed yesterday due to yesterday's rainfall. There weren't any reports of water in the homes. Fortunately, Homeland Security Director and Emergency Preparedness Director Dawson Primes is hoping for the best, but preparing for the worst.
Depending on what we get overnight, worst case scenario is 10 inches, and so 10 inches is going to cause flash flooding in the parish, and also we would end up with some places, depending on where that's set up at, we would end up with some problems.
Emergency officials expect a number of road closures to climb overnight, so that means residents should not go outside when it is raining and to avoid the roads. Turn around, don't drown. That is the common slogan. Also, officials are preparing to open any shelters if the conditions become really rough. Reporting live here in Tangipahoa Parish, I'm Winston Reed, WWL, Louisiana.
All right, thanks so much, Winston. On the South Shore, the city of New Orleans activated its emergency operations at 9 o'clock this morning. It'll remain in effect through 7 a.m. on Friday.
As of right now, City Hall will remain open throughout the storm, and that is where we find Lily Cummings with the very latest. Lily, what did city leaders tell you this afternoon?
Well, Sharice, I do want to share this important piece of information that we just got in within the last hour. NOLA Public Schools Central Office will be closed tomorrow because of this storm, also closed on Friday because of Juneteenth. But here at City Hall, that remains to be seen. Mayor Helena Moreno telling us today that she's going to make the decision on whether or not to close city offices in the early morning hours. She says that she'll continue to get those updates from her emergency management team, and better information, more information will come in around that time. Now, today we did get a lot of information from her team. As far as preparations go, they tell us that Public Works has been inspecting and securing active construction sites. 311 is now 24/7 for non-emergencies, and officials are asking folks that if you're safely able to do so, now is also the time to clear those catch basins while you still have a little bit of daylight here and it is dry. NOPD has been moving boats to each police district, and barricades are being placed in flood-prone areas. NOPD is urging people to abide by those and turn around if you see standing water.
When you see a barricade, please turn around. You do not know how deep that water is. And so you could lose your car at best, but we are talking life safety issues.
And there are 7 free sandbag sites throughout the city that are available to residents. You can find that full list on our website, wwltv.com/sandbags. Reporting live from City Hall, Lily Cummings, wwltv.com.
All right, great information. Thanks so much, Lily. And in New Orleans, we know even just a little rain can take a while to drain. And Alyssa Curtis has a look at the Sewage and Water Board's drainage capacity right now.
There's a good chance New Orleans will experience some flooding during and after Tropical Storm Arthur. Sewage and Water Board says they're already prepping, but they want to remind residents there are limitations to how fast their system can work. Sewage and Water Board says their operations team already started lowering canal levels to increase stormwater storage. They say 87 of 93 drainage pumps are currently available. Turbine 6 is available if needed, but Turbine 5 is out of service. The utility says they have installed a new temporary pump at the Carrollton Underpass since the station's 3 permanent pumps are out of service. All other underpass pumping stations are operational. They're also reminding residents that their drainage system can only handle a certain amount of water in a certain amount of time, approximately 1 inch of rainfall during the first hour of a storm and a ½ inch of rainfall every hour after. For example, if there are 3 inches of rain in 1 hour, it may take up to 5 hours to drain. Of course, we're keeping a close eye on flooding, but if you see flooding, you can let us at WWL Louisiana know. Text us photos at 504-529-4444. And you can report leaks or other water-related emergencies to the utility at 52 Water. Alyssa Curtis, WWL Louisiana.